Can a ghost town have a sister? You bet it can. How about several? Join me as I visit the ghost towns of Watson and Rainbow, both sister towns to Dragon, a turn-of-the-century mining town in northeast Utah. We will travel back in time to see what life was like in a harsh, dry climate.
There's a timber. That old bowl there.
My day starts early as I pack up my gear and supplies. This area of Utah is the epicenter for the middle of nowhere. But that's what I like. Taking the road less traveled to forgotten towns and places, exploring beautiful vistas and wild scenery. Hey YouTube, we're in Watson, Utah. Watson, Utah was a gilsonite mining town, founded in 1911. Watson's main purpose was to load gilsonite from the surrounding mines onto the Uent Railway and move it to Mac, Colorado. Life would have been hard here, sitting in a desert canyon. The summers would have been hot and dry, the winters cold. Back-breaking manual labor would have been your daily activity. The once thriving towns of Watson and Rainbow both had all the amenities of any small town. A schoolhouse, post office, hotel, and many homes. The Uent Railway connected Dragon, Watson, and Rainbow to Mac, Colorado, and the Union Pacific Railroad. For more information on Dragon and the Uent Railway, watch my video called Mystery Solved, Dragon, Utah. I will leave a link at the end of the video and in the description.
So there's a map on the back side of that kiosk there. And so basically right here it shows where the railroad depot was. And I know on that map it showed a big warehouse over here. And there's quite a few structures here, but unfortunately they're all gone. Time has whisked them away. There's my dedicated assistant down there, Lori, trying to get spectacular footage with the drone. And Kimber isn't very happy about the drone. She doesn't like it. Nothing like that should be able to fly around, in her mind. It's just a scary thing flying around. So I believe the train probably kind of followed this road. In fact, that's probably why the road's there. It was probably originally the train tracks, is my guess. And Dragon would be down that way. And I believe the train kind of followed this valley all the way through to Dragon. And at one time, Watson was the last stop on the train, but I believe the train, eventually they extended over to the town of Rainbow, which we'll be going to next. It's a pretty neat area here. There's really not too much to see. You got the sheep shearing pens over there, and then there's just a few buildings left and foundations. This one behind me here, though, it's a pretty neat building. It's very well made. And I don't know if this would have been a cabin or if it was like a storage house, but regardless, I mean, look how thick the walls are on this. If this would have kept you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. But going in here, I don't see where it would have had a chimney. And it's pretty small, but that's still, I mean, that doesn't mean it wasn't a cabin. But I was thinking you might be able to see like where the flue went through for a chimney. Unless, I mean, maybe that's what this was right here. I'm not sure. You can see a big pack rat nest right in there, though. Those things are crazy what they pack in to build their nests. Usually they're filled with, like, a lot of pokey stuff, like cactus and yeah, anything pokey. And I believe it's trying to keep predators out of their nest. So I don't know if these would have been cabins. That one looks like it was probably a cabin. This one looks like it was more of probably a storage area. Hard to say. Oh, look. It does something weird. Huh. What's in there, Simba? So there's a structure over there. We almost missed it. So we're gonna go back down the road and try to walk over to that structure. Wow, it's bigger than what I thought it would be. Yeah. Look at that. So the back wall is all rock, and then they did wood everywhere else. And look at the size of this beam right here. Oh, it's actually 2 beams. Never mind. It's decent size, I guess. Yeah, so it's anyone's guess if this was a house or just a storage area. It's another one though, you know, with the rock wall on the backside and the pretty thick walls built into the dirt. It would have been cool in the summertime and warm in the winter. Alright, so we got a few more buildings over here. My wife actually found these. I had kind of given up. I thought we saw it all. Oh yeah, and look, it had windows, so this was probably a home. Some like old leather right there. Wow. Pardon me, Simba. Wow, and this was a pretty big building right here. You can see the door. Not sure what happened here. Look, that back wall is made of old railroad ties, so that's kind of neat. You can see where the tracks would actually sit on them. And look, there's something here with writing on it. Can't really make it out. Something Wayrant. I think I'm doing more harm than good. Yeah, I can't make out what that says. There's something else here. You see where the railroad ties, where the tracks would sit. Pretty neat. That's a railroad tie there too. Wonder if this was built after they abandoned the railroad. Oh, yeah, that looks a little scary. Oh, and it goes in there pretty far too. It's a pretty narrow door though. Man, that's big in there. Look, it's got part of the back wall is rock, it looks like. It's a big room. I ain't going in there though. I don't even think I can fit through this door. It's like the doorway is like partially collapsing. But you wouldn't even know this was here if it wasn't collapsing right here. I mean, look at that. There's even sagebrush growing all over the top of it, greasewood. That's crazy. It's cool. Nothing crazy about it. So you can really see the sediment layers in the rock here. I guess this whole area was underwater. It was called Lake Uent.
Lake Uent was formed 50 million years ago, covering the entire Uent Basin. At its bottom, oil shale and gilsonite were formed.
You can definitely tell by those layers in the rock. There's probably, I would only imagine that there's fossils. We've looked around for, plant fossils and stuff and haven't found any yet, but I'm sure there's got to be some. You ready, Remy? So there's not a huge amount of buildings left here at Watson, but if you're into old buildings and history, it's definitely worth the stop. We'll go see what Rainbow has to offer next.
By now you're probably wondering, what is gilsonite? Gilsonite is a naturally occurring asphalt that's unique to the Uent Basin.
This is gilsonite. Looks like coal. Tastes like crap.
Gilsonite is mined in vertical seams that can be found all over this country. The ground next to these seams are caving in. They're dangerous. Stay away from them.
Looks like an old stove. Majestic Manufacturing Company, St. Louis. St. Louis. They built them tough back then. Not tough enough for bullets, though. This one's pretty cool looking. I love the outside of it. Still got a little door on it. They even had a lock on it. I don't know if I can squeeze in here or not. I might just go in with the camera. It's got a shelf in the back. Pretty neat. Oh, that's a tight one. So I don't know if this is or not, but this almost has the look of the railroad grade. And there's some big timbers here and there. I'm wondering if this used to be the railroad. Kimber's doing her best impression of a locomotive, if you can hear. Yeah, that could be an old railroad tie. Kind of thinking it may have been. You can see little bits of gilsonite all over the ground here too. Yeah, I'm thinking this was the railroad here. And these are what's left of the railroad ties. Kills me that they ripped it all up. Yeah, look at that piece. That's an old railroad tie for sure. So this would have been the grade right here for the railroad. There's what's left of the foundation there. I love these pictures. The people, the places, the lives they lived. Gosh, it had to have been tough. But to them, they're just living their lives. I got to give a shout out to Uent County for these kiosks. They did a really good job. So I think where I was saying there is a railroad grade, I think it was actually what they're calling an ore tram trestle. But look at you had all the homes, a schoolhouse, bunkhouses. There was a lot going on here at one time. So we have a soldier down. I went to go take off with the drone to get some award-winning footage of this really cool seam of gilsonite here. And I think that radio tower, or I think it's a cell phone tower, I think it interfered with the drone signal, and that thing just took off up in the air, started flying in circles, and next thing I know, it was out of sight. After about an hour of searching, we found it. But yeah, she's not looking good. The camera's all busted off. It's broke here, there. I don't know. She may be done forever. Poor guy. May he rest in peace. Seems like the only thing left at the Rainbow Mine are just a few dugouts. But this is a pretty neat one. If you're into dugouts. Sure, the floor would have been much lower at some point. Or, you know, when they built it. It's a pretty neat one though. Sod roof. Made sense out here because I'm sure this area, I've never been out here in the summer, but I can only imagine it gets hot. Look at that view over there. This is just, it's really pretty country out here. If nothing else, just coming out here for the views that you get. I think it's a very underlooked part of Utah. Oh, look at that old bottle. It's got purple on it. That means it's old. I don't remember why, but I know purple glass is old. Something to do with the way they made it. I had a great time visiting Watson and Rainbow. It's beautiful country out here. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And just keep those comments coming. I love them. Thanks again.